top 15 ranks of the melee players in 2017 so far. And as I said, some of these placements are really hard. But for 15th place in my list this year so far is Duck. Duck has had a pretty good year so far, overall, I would say. If we look at some of his stats, we can see starting off with a 17th at Genesis 4, beating Kels, Azusa, Jace, losing to Leffen, not a bad loss, and then losing to KDH, his fellow Michigan boy. So not the best of performances, but not a bad one either, really. But then he got a strong second place at Full Bloom, beating SFAT, Demoon, Leffen. Leffen went Marth game 3, but he still went Fox 2 of the games. So I would still consider that a good win. Beating Shroom and Waffles as well. And only lost to HBox and Grants. So a really good tournament from Duck. One of the better tournament runs by anyone not in the top 10, for sure. Rivalries was a bit disappointing, losing to Shroom and Wizrobe. But still two pretty good players. And for most players and people, Wizrobe is in the top 10. Ducky too low? Maybe. I felt like 12 to 15 was very hard. And even like outside of 15th, I felt like it was like at least 2 or 3 more players that we could have been putting in the top 15 as well. So really hard. I had such a hard time to decide. CEO Dreamland beating the Moon again. Money Mike, Eichelman. Losing to HBox again. This Kid Boogie, not that good of a loss, but still. Let's see what other tournaments did he have. Combo Breaker first, Apollo 3rd, and Run Back 2017 4th. So overall, pretty good year so far, I would say. Let's also check some of his head-to-head. Starting off pretty, like he has won one set against the Big Six against Leffen, even though it was a Marth. Tied with SFAT, up against Axe, tied with Shroomed, down 1 against Swedish, down 1 against Wizrobe. When did he lose to Swedish? Oh, Apollo. Down 1 against None. Falcon, always tricky matchup for Duck. Why does it say Duck is up 1-0 against me? Let's find out, Westballs. Let's find out. No, it doesn't say that. It says he's... Yeah, Duck. Yeah, no, what are you talking about, Westballs? You're up against Duck. So Westballs is tricking me here. Westballs is up 1-0 against Duck. Now you can get the praise you want, Westballs. The obvious kidding. But yeah, Ducky takes the 15th spot. Number 14 on my list is Shroomed. Shroomed actually started off the year very weak relative to what we can expect from a player like Shroomed. Shroomed was ranked top 10 in the world last year. But yeah, let's start off with checking tournament placements. Shroomed 17th at Genesis. Lose to Chudat and SFAT. Both top 10 players, according to most people. So not really bad losses. Also, quite a few tournaments not in attendance here. No Eden, no Don Park, no Beast. Smash Summit didn't get invited. Full Bloom 9th. Lose 2 close sets to Duck and Axe. But get wins against S2J and Face Roll. So that's pretty good, and Cobb as well. Smash Rivalries. Oh, I remember that set against Duck. That was so close. And then another 2 close losses against Mute King and Swedish. I feel like that's been one of the themes for Shroom this year. He has had a lot of Game 5 losses. He lost to Mute King and Swedish here. He lost to Duck and Axe in Game 5 here. He lost to me and Leffen in Game 5 at Smash and Splash, as we can see here. But that was still a good performance from Shroomed, beating Plop twice and S2J, and then bringing me and Leffen both to Game 5. So that was a very good tournament from Shroomed. He was stepping it up like in the later part here. We can see like Royal Flush 5th and Smash and Splash 4th. That's probably, yeah, no, that's his 2 best performances this year, for sure. If he can keep that up, I can clearly see him climb back up towards the top 10. But right now for this year, I feel like 14th spot is kind of fair. But as I said, like 12th to like 18th, it was like a lot of people that you could argue for like pretty much any spot. See some head-to-head results for Shroomed as well. Also pretty weak against the top 5, but a crucial 2-0 against Plop. That's very good. Plop had very few losses to players ranked below him, so I would want to praise Shroomed a little bit extra on that one. But he struggles with Axe, which he's probably the top Sheik that struggles by far the most against Axe. Most of his Sheiks have a positive record against Axe historically. Yeah, he has quite a few tied scores. The Moon, Chudat. (0-1) against Colball. And then, yeah, it's pretty much, yeah, winning records for the most part afterwards, except for Cyrox. Oh yeah, I remember that now. He lost to Cyrox at DreamHack Austin. Yeah, some of these do not look the cleanest. 0-6 against the top 5. A lot of Game 5 losses, as we said. At least 4 of these 6 losses were Game 5. So he didn't get any wins, but he's showing promises in terms of taking sets. 2-6 against rank 6 to 10, both of the wins being against Plop. But overall, he's going in the right direction. Feels like he's improving again. So it's going to be interesting to see what Shroomed can do for the rest of the year. I take that 1 win to the bank. Good shit, Weston. 13th place on my list is Swedish. Overall, pretty solid this year. He's had one major weakness I noticed when I was going through the stats, and that's Foxes, to be honest. Also no sets against the Big Six, even though he's actually only played against HBox this year. But he's up against Axe, he's up against Shroomed, then he had 2 negative scores against Wizrobe and Ice. And then outside of that, I'm pretty sure it's only Foxes he's down against. He's down against Drugged Fox, he's down against My Case. But he still have some also like good ones. Oh, he's actually up against Lucky, so that's good. And Silent Wolf. Pew Pew and Duck is also up against. But then we have like KDH, he's down 1-3. He's down against Crush 1 by 1 set. He tied up with Slox today, even though that's not going to count for this ranking. But yeah, it's mainly Foxes. So for Swedish to like step it up and the second half of the year, he really needs to work even harder on the Fox matchup. It's very tricky as Sheik. Trust me, I know, even though I don't play Sheik, but I play Fox. So I can feel the pain. I can feel the pain for Sheik players. Swedish was one of the harder ranked players for me to actually decide. I could see him go anywhere between 13th down to like 18th or 17th. So Swedish is the one I'm the least sure about on this entire list, actually. I feel like I might have overvalued him for the year. But yeah, trust me, this was hard. This was hard. 12th place, the one and only in the chat as well, West Bowls. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people, and maybe myself even, but I feel like a lot of people have talked in a very underrated way about West Bowls this year. Like, of course, since West Bowls was ranked 8th last year, he did underperform at like some tournaments, but he also had quite a few good performances in here as well. Don't Pork in the Grass was a good tournament, beating SFAT, Pew Pew, Nintendo, Drift, and Soft. A lot of 3-2s there, but there are still wins. There are still wins. And then Genesis 4, starting off with a top 8 as Super Major, beating SFAT, Smash God, Colball, and DJ Nintendo. Not dropping a single game in any of these sets. But the Invitationals is the roughest ones for West Bowls this year. losing all the sets at Smash Summit and losing both his sets at Smash Rivalries. So that was clearly the weakest part of the year for Westballs. But outside of the Invitationals, been pretty good. DreamHack Austin. Yeah, that was a rough bracket, actually. When you look at 13th, that's actually why I dislike when people always talk about placements. Because losing to Plop and King and get 13th, that's pretty rough. Like, no player walks safe if they get these two players. So, yes, 13th, not the best of placements, but sometimes you gotta look at the losses as well. Very important. Like, I remember Ice, for example, at Smash and Splash, he got 17th, but he lost to Leffen and Mango. Like, tough luck, but it happens. No sets against the big six. Up against SFAT still, even though SFAT has taken more sets than he usually do, taking 2 sets. But then we see a good string here from Westballs taking a lead against Wizrobe, Ice, Pew Pew, Duck, Esther J, Nintendude, and None. So that's really good, actually. Struggles a little bit more with people in like the next tier, maybe. Down 1 set against the Moon, down 2 sets against Drugged Fox. Even though Drugged Fox actually have had a really good year so far. So those 2 wins I wouldn't even call bad by any means. So like, when you look at this list and you're like, oh, Westball's losing to Drugged Fox that was ranked, what is it, like 23rd or whatever it was last year. But for most people, Drugged Fox is not nearly like that far down. But yeah, overall, as I said, pretty good. No set wins, 0-9 against the top 5, but whenever it gets to like 11th and below, you see very favorable records in all categories. So 12th spot is what Westballs earned this time around on my list. 11th place goes to Drugged Fox. I'll type it out as D-Fox. Balanced Fox. Drugged Fox having by far the biggest jump on this list. Was ranked 23rd last year, but been having a really good year so far. So he won Eden, a very good win, beating Ice, SFAT, Smash God, and Slox. He dropped 1 set twice in Grand Finals, but still managed to beat Ice twice. So that's very good, starting off strong. Don't Park on the grass. Loses to a Triff in a very close set, and Esther J is a loss as well. Falcon has actually been pretty tricky for Drugged Fox. It seems to be a matchup that does not really suit him. I personally would like to see him go back to Sheik in that matchup, to like dual main Fox Sheik. I was always a fan of Sammy's Sheik, but he's fully committing to the Fox. But overall, we can still see great placements at almost every single tournament here. Beats Axe, beats SFAT before losing the run back. So overall, still pretty good tournament. Beating 2 players ranked above him, and then losing to 2 players ranked above him, even though SFAT happens to appear twice here. But Full Bloom, still a pretty good tournament for him, for sure, especially considering he was ranked 23rd. Smash Rivalries, a really good, yeah, like his best tournament this season for sure. Beating SFAT, Sudat, Swedish, S2J, and Westballs. Quite a few 3-2 sets, but being clutch is also important. Royal Flush, probably second best performance this season. Beating Leffen, one of the only player between 11th and 15th that actually managed to get a top 6 win. So beating Leffen 3-0. Leffen normally not dropping that many sets to Foxes. I can't really recall any non-top 6 Foxes he has lost to since SFAT beat him at press start. So overall, a very strong matchup for Leffen. So for Sammy to beat him 3-0, that's really good. Also manages to beat Crush and Lucky in the Ditto. 3-2 in those sets, beating Nintendo 3-0 and Android 3-1. So yeah, no, Sammy has improved a lot and also recently got sponsored, so congrats for that. Gonna be interesting to see if he can keep pushing forward or to see what's gonna happen. I feel like 12th to 18th, as I said, was really hard to rank. I feel like Sammy was like kind of clear-cut 11. Then we get to the other slightly tricky part, 10th to 8th seed, or 8th rank.